Hello, everybody, and welcome to Epilogue 1 of Blood in the Bayou, Book 1 Thicker Than Water. I am your storyteller, Aries or Adrian, and I am really excited to be bringing this first in 4 epilogues to you. Early access for our Patreon members. The VODs will be up eventually after around a month or so of having been exclusively early access to our patrons. So you can check them out eventually. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, hello to you as well. This evening, we have a special epilogue that will focus on Kenny Hartsmith and Quinn, as well as a special guest, which we will introduce in just a moment. But we'll go around and introduce our cast members and who they're playing this evening. And why don't we start with you, Zach?
Hello, I am Zach. I will be playing Mr. Kenny Hartsmith today, who is a bit out of sorts and driving this evening. So, if all goes well, there will be no car crashes.
One can only hope. Next up, Michael.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm playing Quinn, the resident thin blood. Likes to play around in his laboratory a lot with blood potion concoctions, and is also a little bit out of sorts following the not super recent, but recent enough for him to still be kind of like doing double takes and having some nightmares.
And next up is Dominic.
Hello, I'm Dominic. I'll be playing Rich, Kenny's ghoul, and doing some undercover spy work.
Indeed. All right. So, as usual, we're going to go ahead and jump into our theme song, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back. The events that took place in the finale of season 1 were around 2 months ago. Since that time, our coterie has undergone a number of changes, both internally and externally. The bonds which form between people, kindred, guru, mages, regular humans. These are at the forefront of most people's minds, day to day. And for those that are bound to the night, from night to night? Who are we without these bonds? And when it is your blood that creates new unlife, what do these bonds mean to the kindred of the world? Kenny Hartsmith of Clan the Sombra, a good, by all accounts, church-going man, found himself in a situation where his morals and his guidance had been tested. Those tests have not really abated. Perhaps, or with his better judgment, he found himself becoming not only an unwitting father of sorts to Quinn Hamish, the thin blood, but also the protector and benefactor of a ghoul by the name of Rich Dos Santos, himself being a newish at the time member of the Sunrise Association. And it is on this evening, driving on the road between New Orleans and Shreveport, on back roads, that Quinn and Kenny find themselves in a car with a date to meet with Rich Dos Santos. Quinn and Kenny, the drive from New Orleans has been relatively quiet at points. Instead of taking the main highway up towards Shreveport, you've been driving on back roads as the Sunrise Association has some plans, and they seem to be transporting some people this evening. Exactly what is happening is still up for debate, but you have some time before you meet Rich at the meeting point. What is taking place in the car on this evening as you drive?
Well, Quinn, I wanted to thank you for accompanying me this evening. I hope it will be illuminating. There's a couple things that I have not exactly told you that I've been wanting to loop you in on.
Well, one of my former teachers in another life told me that sometimes the best way to do science is to get out in the field. You can't just stay in the safety of the lab all the time and doing experiments. Sometimes I gotta get out and experience, I guess in this case, unlife, as it would come to be. But yeah, you're part of my new family now. Arguably, probably one of the more important parts of my new family. So of course, family helps family.
Are you familiar with what the term ghoul means?
I mean, like, I used to play as a game I played when I was a kid. On we used to have dice and paper. There were ghouls that we would fight there, but no, I'm not familiar. It relates to us as vampires.
Yes. What did those ghouls look like in this game that you played?
Oh, they usually kind of looked like sunken. They were all undead, supposedly, right? As the game would have it, but they were all kind of like, you know, uh, they looked alien and monstrous.
So, in our world, the world of Kindred, ghouls look like just an average person that you might meet at the supermarket. Their human body, biologically speaking, from an outward facing standpoint, does not seem to change at all.
What kind of, I guess, what 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 are they like? What is, I guess, they so they look like so in the real world, our world here, ghouls look, walk, and talk like people.
Yes, with some enhanced strength or fragments and remnants of our capabilities. Mm, Senses that have been a bit honed and heightened through the process of their creation. But for all that can be seen, they look human.
So I guess you could say it's like you bought a car, but you gave it a little tune-up. It's got some performance enhancements.
Yes, mm, it's not mm, mm, the most mm, generous of interpretations, but I rather think of it like hiring a butler that is both uh, more expensive and at a distinctive discount.
Hmm. Ooh, or 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 buying a sports team and giving them all steroids.
Well, kinda, actually.
Interesting.
I suppose you must be rather curious about the process by which such an individual is created.
I do say you definitely piqued my scientific curiosity. I mean, this whole new world that we're living in now has is just, it still blows my mind. But uh, yeah, I don't think I can honestly say that I'm not surprised every single day with the new things that I learn.
I think it might be easier to explain if I just show you.
Well, I'm not going anywhere else.
I'll show you once we have met up with my associate. Mm, If I recall, the last time we spoke, you were having trouble sourcing material for your experiments. Is that still something that you are struggling with?
Yeah, to an extent. You know, it's sometimes I mean, blood is, wow, definitely a plentiful resource, as there are lots of people and I guess animals. Um, Usually it's not something that they willingly give away. At least, I guess maybe I could pose as a blood bank. No, that's too much paperwork.
Hmm. There are, I'm sure, ways if we could get access to more financial resources, perhaps it's something you could mm, speak with Elijah about if you can find a way that he might also benefit from your experimentation.
He did mention one time wanting me to come by the university. I don't think we think I think the events unfolded rather rapidly though, and at the time, and there's a lot of excitement and explosions. Um, so we never were able to get around to that. But yes, thank you for bringing that up. I definitely have to remember. I've been so distracted the last couple of months by the last the climax of our little unfortunate series of events.
Mm,
Lots to think about.
me, me too. Um, I will do my best to help you stock up before. I suppose there's one other thing that we should probably discuss before we arrive.
What's that?
Um, you, of course, would be welcome, but I do not necessarily expect that you will follow. Um, I am. I'm going to be leaving town for an indeterminate amount of time.
Oh,
Mm. There is. Earlier, you spoke about our new family. Mm. It is good that you feel that way about them, but given the political climate of the Camarilla in New Orleans, uh, I'm not sure how much choice there is about what family we have. It's mm, expedient and safest to be involved with the group. However, there is a member of that family who mm, requires penance, though I do not believe that it is something that they would seek for themselves. So I must pray upon it and see if I can find it for them.
I think I know who you're talking about, but we don't need to get further into that. Yeah, it was a unsettling scene, to be sure. But that's how would you be able to perform penance for them? I don't. I mean, I'm not very religious myself, so I don't know how it all works.
Well, unfortunately, that's why I can't say when. Um, that's why I can't say when I'll be back. That's well, that's not something that they teach you in school, especially not with our complications.
Yes, so sometimes things just take as long as they take.
I I would be happy for you to join me, but personally, I believe you still have business here that requires attending to.
Yes, there's unfortunately still that business with those very unpleasant individuals. Dawn something. I can't. The name eludes me right now. My
Well, I
my maker my maker though did seem to be clearly with them. So yes, I would like to settle that particular uh, score before going on vacation, unless it's to chase him somewhere.
the That does make sense. The I, I don't exactly like placing rules upon other people, but I think that I should. It would be wise if I left you with one. Is that okay with you?
Well, I'm all ears.
My only rule is that while I am away, if there is assistance or information that you require that I might be able to provide, well, do not hesitate to give me a call, and I will try.
Thank you. That is very gracious.
Annie and Quinn, in preparation for this evening, what items did you bring with you?
Kenny
Well-
would.
Oh,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, Quinn, in preparation for potential hostilities, he made several. Well, he basically, filled out his bag of tricks, as it were, potion wise, and brought with him, a few. Brought with him. Let's see. He brought a couple prowess formulas, uh, a haze formula, a couple cloud memories, in case we need to make some people forget. I don't know exactly what Kenny's skill set is. Mine leads manipulation is one of my weak points, but felt like learning a few domination tricks seemed like something that would make sense for Quinn.
Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, he's got that going on, as well as I think. Yeah, let's see. There's 2, 4, 5. And he's got 1 envelope, basically spell slots.
All right.
Kenny would have suggested that they both wear darker clothing to blend in with the night.
Oh, I would have brought guns too. Sorry.
He brought 2 face coverings, one, and would have suggested that Quinn bring one as well. So one for him, one for Rich, and suggested that Quinn brought one. So I would assume we have 3 of those. He's got in the trunk of the car his cello case that holds the sniper rifle, and he is carrying his silenced handgun on his person. And I have a request for a final item that will require the grace of my storyteller.
I'm all ears.
Given that he no longer has a folkloric block due to an encounter that he had for holy water, he would have tried to procure a vial of it based on things that he observed in the last couple of episodes of the season.
I would say that is reasonable. That is reasonable. And let's go ahead and see how hungry you are this evening. If both of you will make your rouse checks for me, please.
Kenny is feeling a bit peckish.
It's 1d10, right?
Yeah.
Indeed.
I got 10. Not hungry.
Not
All
hungry.
right. So you're not that hungry. Interesting. Very good. Kenny is a bit hungry and you're not that hungry. That's good. All right. You all have been driving for quite some time now. And even though you were taking one of the main roads up to Shreveport for a while, you see a turn coming up, which will take you on the back roads, which will lead you through some of the national forests. But it should be all right, as permission has been granted by various factions for this seemingly important mission for you to be able to go through this land. As you turn off the main road, you know that you are going to be stopping at a small gas station / convenience store, which is essentially mom and pop run. And you should be coming up on there in around 10 minutes or so.
Well, this will hopefully be informative. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Is there anything else that you think we should discuss before we arrive that you might not want to talk about in front of my associate?
No, not that I can think of. I trust your judgment and associates.
Well, I chose him for his sense of right and wrong, I suppose you would say. Although that probably makes for an uncomfortable life for him these nights, I would imagine. And then he'll just kind of fall silent and continue the drive in silence.
Excellent. And as you are continuing to drive, both of you can make a wits and awareness roll for me, please.
Our boy Kenny is not too observant. That marks, I believe, my second total failure on wits and awareness for the season.
All right. One success. Well, it's good that there's one success. It makes sense in that Kenny, being unable to use a GPS map, had marked the map on an actual physical map book, but it is a little bit dark in the car, and there are not too many lights on this road. And not being the person that thoroughly enjoys using Oblivion, it's very doubtful that you would have done that just to be able to see the map in the car. Quinn, on the other hand, can use smartphones without a problem and has the GPS coordinates for the small mom and pop gas station on this back road. And you notice the exit, Quinn.
Oh, I think we're supposed to get off here, and I'm glad I still got signal out here. This is pretty remote.
Are you going to be taking the exit, I assume, Kenny?
When it is actually indicated to him that he should. Yeah, he'll take
it. You just hear a little voice pop up. Turn here.
Pulling off onto the side of the road, it's a very small gas station with an oldish looking building that is used for the convenience store, and they sell a few trinkets, and it is very, very quiet out here. But parked near the back of the store, there is a car. Mr. Rich Dos Santos, what vehicle do you imagine you drive?
Oh man, hadn't thought about that. Considering what I'm doing out here, I would expect something very inconspicuous. Nothing that's going to stand out too far. Probably nothing new. let's say a pretty gross green Crown Victoria, refurbished, bought from one of those police auctions.
Nice. And what are you wearing on this evening? Have you been waiting inside the car or have you been waiting outside?
I would imagine inside the car. I don't think I would be considering the nature of the work and everything. I'd probably be pretty on edge and not wanting to be too exposed, too out. Wearing dark clothes, probably dark jeans. Full sleeve, probably dark shirt, something that keeps nothing too obvious or seeable
Excellent.
without my wanting it.
You know that you all have around, as far as timing goes, from what you could pick up from the facility, you have around about a 45-minute head start on the location where the truck that is carrying a load of various supernatural entities that have been caught by the Sunrise Association is supposed to leave the main highway and begin taking back roads itself on its long journey to Denver, Colorado. You have a question, Quinn?
Yeah. Do we know if it's an armored truck?
That information would be something that your friend Rich will be passing on to you in just a moment as well. By all accounts, Rich, the truck itself is designed on the outside to look like a large U-Haul, as if somebody was moving a lot of personal items from one house to another all the way across the country. Inside is another matter. You know that the housing has been retooled so that it can actually hold 6 containers of different supernatural entities. You're not entirely sure exactly what has been caught and what is being transported. However, you do know that there are, at least inside the truck itself, supposed to be 3 to 4 armored personnel, as well as a man which at first you thought was just a scientist by the name of Eric Sullivan, but you discovered through your prodding and prodding head that he is actually also, in fact, a clergyman himself. He is been known as Father Eric Sullivan by some of the members of Sunrise. You were very certain that you were not spotted while gaining the information you needed tonight. However, you're also relatively certain that suspicions are beginning to fall on you, as your behavior over the past year has been a little bit questionable compared to the rest of them. You have a small dossier with you, which details the face of Father Sullivan, and also that the transport is happening tonight and its location. And you are waiting for Kenny to arrive. And
Does this might be a question for Kenny. Does Rich smoke? Like cigarettes?
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna say if he
What do you
didn't,
think, Aries?
he has been now.
Yeah.
Been
That-
stressed out.
That's. I'll say probably not in the beginning, but I'm guessing he maybe picked up the habit here in
Yeah.
the past several months. Yeah, that makes
Plus,
sense.
you know, if you're a ghoul, it's not that bad for you. You can live forever as long as you keep getting the blood. It's okay.
Mm.
It's the best advertisement for becoming a ghoul I've ever heard. You can smoke all you want. That's great. The lights from the car that Kenny is driving do illuminate the side of the car that you are in, Rich. And you see that Kenny and Quinn have pulled up there. You are unfamiliar with the man that is with Kenny at the moment as they step out of the vehicle.
Is my car aimed towards them, or are they parked in a like is the orientation of my car, facing them or not?
In my mind, it's come to rest sort of topped tails
Okay, just next to each other?
next to each other. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll roll down the window and probably drop whatever ends of the cigarette I was just finishing out. And hit open the glove box, get the dossier sort of in a spot where we've got it, available. Though I don't think I'd get out of the car. I think unless I would get in his car, I guess. I don't know which would be more appropriate in this circumstance.
Kenny is actually going to come over and sort of knock it on the window, and then realizing you've noticed him, he will kind of nod his head to Quinn to get into the back seat, and then he'll actually get into your car.
Okay, cool. I imagine be a little nervous.
To clarify, bringing the cello case and putting it into the other trunk.
Got it. So I would probably, in that case, would have had the dossier probably laid on the passenger side seat, for you to get as you come in.
He will start reading, and then he'll say to Rich, well, it has been a little while. I imagine the cravings are starting to resurface a bit.
Has a little itch. Yeah, and these cigarettes ain't helping.
Probably not after this long. I should introduce you. This is Quinn. He is my he's my responsibility.
Hello.
Overall, my general attitude towards vampires not particularly great.
Yeah, no, not super good. Kind of like if someone told you, hey, you're gonna go walk on glass for a couple of hours. It's like anytime you're around them, like the bond still pulls you towards Kenny a bit,
Right.
but everyone else is sort of like probably skeeves you out.
Okay. I give a quick nod, nice to meet you.
Indeed, likewise.
Just to give a little rundown, we've got, I'm sure you see in the dossier, but from what I can have found out, from what I could have deciphered, looks like we've probably got 4, maybe 5 hostiles that are not supernatural, as far as I know. With the Sunrise Association. But I don't really have any idea what they're transporting. I know they're supernatural, I just don't know how many or what kind. And I don't think we're going to have many more shots at this. I think this might be a bit too high profile for me to continue this sort of work.
Well, I have some good news about that. As soon as we're done with this, you're going to New York City.
New York.
And I'll be meeting you there in a few days. I have some things to take care of before I go.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought this was supposed to be my last job.
Do you want to stay in town?
Okay, good point. Do we have any idea how we're bringing this here truck to a stop?
Well, we know that they'll have to stop when they get where they're going, but I imagine if we wait that long, there'll be more hostiles there.
Yeah, and I don't really
How familiar with this area would we be, storyteller?
The route that the truck is supposed to be taking is actually marked in the dossier. It has been very carefully planned out in that currently you are close to the 49, which is heading north towards Shreveport, but you are on one of the side roads that go through one of the national forests here. And you know that the idea is that this truck is supposed to turn off of this main route, sort of in the other direction of where you were going onto a small road called the 28. And they will be heading through to Shreveport through that side road, which goes again through different smaller areas. So you have sections of road which are covered with national forest. You have sections of road which are relatively dark before they head into sort of like small towns and small hamlets and stuff like that on the way through to it. So you are familiar enough with what you would like to do if there are plans that you would like to make.
I had a question. So about the truck and our mission. Are we trying to take the truck in one piece, ideally? I don't mean like harming whatever's being whatever the cargo is, but like would we be opposed to, say, given the fact that we're trying to stop a truck, using something like a spike strip, since it's probably like single lane roads. If you're on back roads, it'd be easy to like cover. It'd be easy to throw that out across the road, and then maybe like throw some stuff, dirt or whatever on it to kind of like mask it a little bit, and that would stop it pretty quick. I'd imagine that might have been something that we would have considered leading up to it and wouldn't be that difficult to procure.
That is an option, and I think one that we should exercise, but it might perhaps be prudent to have a backup plan.
One thing we do need to be aware of, and then I probably, if it's, point over to that dossier and point out Father Eric Sullivan. This guy is of specific, intrigue. He's seems to be a fundamentalist like us, but he doesn't have a lot of love for those like us. He's apparently out of Denver, which, seems to be whatever they're bringing these guys there for. He's a big part of why.
Here's my plan. We get the spike strip. We sacrifice one of the cars by parking it shortly down the road from the spike strip around a turn.
Yeah.
That way, they're forced to stop by the car if the spike strip doesn't completely do its job and they can't
Yeah.
find a way to get out of our sight.
Yeah. I don't think any of us has a chainsaw to cut down a tree right now, so
I think that it's best I go into the woods and find a roost that I will be able to utilize at that location. I could use my fire to draw them. If this Father Sullivan person is quite dangerous, I imagine that a sniper might be the only way to draw him away from the vehicle. And then you could break in a liberate the cargo, and I will make my escape on foot for this evening.
yeah. I've got a couple. I've got a couple of tools in my tool bag that might make uh, close quarters action a little slightly safer.
I'm reluctant to ask. Where are you gonna need me?
Well, I would like you to provide support to Mr. Quinn. You'll be safer there than you would be in the woods with me.
You like to punch
Okay.
things or shoot them?
I much prefer a little range. I can
That's-
punch things.
That's
I just
fair.
feel a little safer.
That's fair.
Well, Mr. Dos Santos, there is no reason to be shy. I think you and I both know you would much rather be miles away from here this evening.
Yeah, if I had a choice.
Well, for one of you, I have a little extra. Let's call it go juice. It'll make you real. It'll make you feel like a $1,000,000. Like you can lift just about anything, and it lasts for quite a while. Definitely long enough for us to get this whole thing over with. So if one of you feels like you might want to, have some performance enhancement, that's definitely on the table. I brought a spare, because I figured somebody else might be in the market.
That seems like something that might aid in your protection this evening, Mr. Dos Santos.
Yeah, and I pop out another cigarette, and I'm like, I don't think I'm breaking any more rules than I already have.
Quinn,
Well,
are you handing?
Yeah,
Rich.
if he wants it, I'll hand him one of the prowess formulas.
How have you stored it? What does it
Yeah,
look
that's
like?
what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so Quinn likes to store them in easy to transport but not delicate containers. So he prefers like plastic, kind of like screw cap like vials, because they're small, so it's doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's still easy to like down pretty quickly if you need to.
What does it look like inside?
It probably looks red, maybe like a dark red. I wouldn't. I guess we could maybe another time get into the ingredients and the mixtures. But for now, I would assume that it probably looks dark red or something like that, because it's heavily blood,
Okay.
focused.
Are you handing it to me?
Yeah. If he
Okay,
wants
I
it,
guess
he's
I'll reach over and grab it. I'll look at it for a minute, and so like now or a little later.
Well, when you feel like you might need a little extra
All right.
strength, as it were. Mechanically speaking, it's prowess, with essentially 3 dots in potence. So it'd add 3 to any strength checks or like brawl attacks.
Okay.
I have to double take the rules on this, but I feel like ghouls could drink it, but regular humans probably not, right?
I don't know. It's a
I
good
have to
question.
double check on this. But for purposes of this, I'm going to at least house rule that yes, ghouls are able to have the blooded potions.
Your new V dealer.
All right. So, are you all going to be taking the road? Are you using both vehicles, or are you leaving one of them behind here?
I feel like we should hide one of them, and then the other one we were going to use for the road.
So
So
I am planning to have Kenny drive separately, to be clear. So he's going to drive in the front, and then he's going to stop and park the car, which will kind of tell them once we get around a turn where to put the spike strips going around that turn. And then he's going to bug out of that car and go into the woods to set up a sniper location where he'll have a view of that area in between the spike strips and the car. So we're going to have to drive separately so he can leave that car there and then go into the woods. They'll have their vehicle they can pull off, into like a side road or something like that, and nearby where they can, whatever works at the site.
Ahead of the spike strip, problem, or not ahead, but behind the spike strip. That way, if there's some issue with moving the vehicle, we can still get out of there.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
All right.
You guys will go first in the caravan then.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's fine.
You begin driving your vehicles, and there is a short area where a turn will come up, and to get there it will take you about another half an hour. But as mentioned, you had about 45 minutes on the time when they were supposed to be.
At this point, we're probably like a half an hour ahead of them or something.
Yeah. So you come to a point in the road where there are indeed a number of woods on the side and a couple of roadside ditches that you would be able to sort of park your car and sort of hide it if you needed to. And you begin setting all of this up. How are you going to disguise your car so that the truck does not see it? The one that is parked, not yours, Kenny, yours, Rich. How are you going to be hiding this car so that it is a little bit less visible?
Sorry, so let me just, so which car are we putting in the way of the
Kenny's car.
Kenny? Okay. I would imagine it would mostly just be either a little bit further on the road so that it's not even a issue, not even an obstacle. Or if not, I'd imagine if there's some place to turn off and get behind some trees or just anything where not somewhere where the lights of the truck are going to shine too directly so it doesn't cause any reflection. If that requires a little mudding it up and so on and so forth, obviously that's possible. But I don't know if you guys have I would think to move it a little bit further down the road.
Yeah, as I said, does the road like have a point at where it's not directly visible when someone drives by that little offshoot? Like maybe a turn or like twists or is it just like a straight shot for like miles?
You are specifically wanting to set up the spike strips around where one of these turns are, shortly after one of these turns on the road. So you want to set up your other vehicle ahead of those spike strips, so behind Kenny's vehicle?
No, we were gonna have ours just like off on a side road. So like before they got to the spike strip, it would be over there like off a side road, kind of like out of sight.
There aren't exactly side roads here, but there
right.
are like side road ditches basically. that you could sort of park there. And other than that, it's mostly woods.
Is there a way to like follow the path they're going to be taking and then like exit out of there off of a side street and like loop back around if they did like park it past Kenny's car?
Yes.
Because
Right.
they could do that.
We can do that.
Yes, there are definitely ways that you can do that. These are side roads. These are even smaller ones. Like we're talking like deep woods, but there are definitely roads and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do that. All right. So you begin to set these things up, and you are beginning to wait the amount of time for the vehicle to arrive. Kenny, just in preparation for getting up into a perch, you can make a wits and survival roll for me just to see if you can, what sort of kind of area you can find here.
Okay.
Also want to kind of like try to toss some dirt on the spike strip just so it's not, I don't know how the metal looks, but make it a little less shiny so it's not just immediately flashing as there's something different on the road.
Okay, that's very good. You can also make a wits and survival check for me just to see how effective that is.
I got 3 successes, and I think it can be a couple of meters up because he has soaring leap with potence 2.
Yes.
So he's happy to sort of be in a situation where he needs to jump in and jump out because the elevation will provide an advantage.
2 successes.
All right. Very
2
good.
out of 2.
You are both in a position that is as hidden as you can imagine. And Kenny, you believe you have a good sight on where the truck would be. Is there any extra preparation that you are taking? Are you going to be on the same side? This is now for Quinn and for Rich. Are you going to be on the same sides or different sides of the roads, or how would you like to do this?
Quinn is going to utilize his obfuscate skills. So unseen passage in conjunction with, silence of death, so that he can actually be invisible down on the ground, probably down closer to the lower level, because he wants to be able to have a good line of sight for anybody when people like, if everything goes off, as it should, they hit the spike strip and then are like, what's going on? They get out of the car, they start looking around, right? So I want to be able to see and possibly identify targets so that I can, go after whoever the most threatening one is with certain things before we go after anybody else.
Is this because we're putting this right at a turn, right? At like a corner?
Just after the turn, yeah.
Just after? Is it a left or right turn?
It's a left turn.
Okay. So I would imagine I'd want to be, oh man, I'm wondering if I should be like using the car as cover to ensure we can get to the driver, or just to provide backup for Quinn. I'm not really sure which would be more advantageous.
I don't know what would feel, I don't know what like your gut instincts character wise would be.
I'm thinking maybe, I don't know how far the woods are, the trees from the road, but I was half thinking on the left side of the road after the turn, at the tree line, so that I can follow up behind you, because based on your description, I'd assumed you were on near the road, like just before where we think it's going to stop.
Yeah, and completely invisible.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe like I'm assuming the trees aren't that far away that it's, like I'm going to have to cross
Yeah,
500 miles.
he's staying somewhere where he thinks is close enough that'll give him a good line of sight and easy to take action, but also somewhere where he thinks won't be in the line of the truck should it lose control and go barreling off into the trees when it hits the spike strip.
Might be a little too late. Is there any more we can do to make this car useful to us in terms of like, I don't know if like a little Molotov in the gas tank or something is of any use? Because if so, I could put myself there, but otherwise, I think behind the tree with you leading was probably the best bet for my own health.
Yeah, just in the interest of fairness, probably since we didn't specify anything about it, it would be a bit out of character for Kenny to use like
Okay.
explosives as well, if not required. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Then I think that probably the tree line. I don't want to be the person in the headlights. Like, oh hey guys,
Alright.
what's up? But yeah, behind Quinn.
And just like
Providing
wheel
cover
off
fire.
and be like, "Oh man, my car broke down. I got a
Yeah.
flat."
That's what I didn't want to happen.
So the good thing with certain of the obfuscate abilities is such they require line of sight to have been broken initially for them to be that effective. So if he is looking at you while you're activating this ability, he can still follow you.
That's good.
I just picked up on this yesterday when I was rewatching some other shows. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's good to know this. This is great. Not all of them are like that, but this specific one will be like that. So you are in position and you are waiting for this truck to come along. And a few tense moments go by, but setting everything up took you a good couple of minutes. So it's around 15 or so minutes later, where on this very deserted road, you hear the sounds and the lights of this truck, which is coming along. And indeed, looks to be just a plain old U-Haul truck, but the larger variety is if somebody was moving a lot of things from one place to another.
I pull the
And-
slide back on the pistol.
All right. In a few more moments, you hear the and the sound of screeching tires as this truck is trying to come to a stop and right itself. And I rolled for the driver, and he rolls enough so as not to jackknife the truck and have it go spinning off the road. But it does come to a bit of a stop and actually does end up bashing into Kenny's parked car, which is on the side. So the truck itself now semi-blocking the road. Well, more than semi, because it's quite large. It's blocking the road, but Kenny's car is, not that happy. It's definitely quite busted up, and one of the passenger side person does not seem to be reactive, but the driver is sort of like shaking his head a little bit and attempts to open the car door, and he is very blurry and disoriented. And it is actually I'll get everyone to make a wits and awareness roll for me, please. For
at this point, he would have Oblivion sight on because he's about to snipe, and he uses that as his like night vision goggles.
Yes.
So what is a success?
6 and above.
Okay, I got one success.
Okay.
I also got one success.
All right. And our friend
When?
Oh, I got
Quinn.
3. Sorry.
3 successes. All right. So From your position where you are keeping your eyes sort of trained on the rest of the truck here, Kenny, you do notice that the man that has stepped out of the truck from the position that you were in the trees has he's leaning against the car door, and you can tell that he has a bit of blood in his head, but he is busy picking up a cell phone. From the corner that Quinn and Rich are making their way up, you can see a little bit more. Quinn specifically, you can actually see the back of the truck, and you, at this point in time, it does not seem as if anyone is coming out of it just yet. Kenny, did you say you were planning on taking the cell phone wielding man out?
When he starts stepping out of the car, he would begin aiming, and I imagine he's going to fire about the point the guy's trying to get his cell phone out.
All right, go ahead and make your shot.
Oh man,
Hit him with your best shot.
I love sniping.
Give me a moment to assemble my pool. This is one of his more
Bigger.
sick, one of his more sick things that he can do.
Indeed.
Spray he doesn't have celerity for.
Then that willpower. That is 9 successes, no criticals, with a +4 damage modifier.
All right. With it, he is beginning to pull out his cell phone and trying to speak, and he gets it just up to the ear as a bullet silently shoots through the cell phone and into his head, and he falls and slumps to the ground. From your angle where you are, Quinn, you do not see him because hold on. American cars, which side is the driver's steering wheel?
The left side.
Left.
On the left side.
Okay, then you do see him. Yeah, you do see him because the truck is like that. So the left side, the right side would be against Kenny's car. The left side would be.
May I add a clarifying point?
Yes.
His handgun is silenced. The sniper rifle is not. Because such a thing is a bit harder to obtain if you don't know how to manufacture it yourself fitted for a sniper rifle.
And there is the loud crack of a sniper rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And now you do witness from your angle, Quinn and Rich, after this loud crack goes out, you see one of the back doors opens very quickly, and then you hear a canister get rolled out and the door closes again, and there is a bit of a as a gas grenade, sort of like a fog grenade, sort of gets released and obscures the vision here.
As that's happening, I'm gonna go ahead and drink my haze formula, which creates kind of like a cloud of mist around me. It's not an offensive thing, but like once I become visible, it will become harder to like target me and keep track of me. It's
All
just
right.
there's no roll, it's just a rouse. Well, it's a rouse check. So let me see if I get hungry real quick. Nope, got 10.
All right. So you drink this, and out of your pores, I guess, this mistiness starts emanating out of you, which I imagine might break the obfuscate a little bit, because now you have this mist pouring out of you. I don't know.
I think with that one, unseen passage, it says as long as the user emits no overpowering odors or sound louder than a whisper, his power automatically works.
It's not an odor. I'm gonna have to see if there's any errata to see how these two
Yeah,
interact.
yeah.
But okay, for purposes of this, yes, there is this mist that is sort of like coming up in you. But now you can see from the angle that you are, Kenny, and Rich, it is being just mortal. It's not, not that all supernaturals have a different sight, but it's easy enough for you to see that the area around the back of the truck has started to spray up with this cloud of gas, which is intended to obfuscate things. And you can hear after a bit of time that there's a bit of crunching and a bit of boots that are coming up, that are getting into position there. But it is very difficult to see.
Gotcha.
Can I shoot the can?
You can certainly try. It's difficult to see.
Well, I figured now would be the perfect time to do that because the smoke would kind of like cloud the cloud, and it wouldn't look unnatural.
You can have first to see if you can make it out. You can roll a wits and awareness roll for me, please, to see if you can actually spot the can.
While he's doing that, what about the passenger side of the truck? What
If
has
you want
anything
to
happened?
if you want to come around to that side, you can go and have a look at the passenger.
Well,
From
I was-
Kenny's point of view, he saw
Yeah.
that the passenger was sort of like slumped up against the
Okay.
thing, but you have not seen that.
But and
was-
I've got no. Go ahead.
Or
You
to
got
see
no
the can?
visual. For to see the can, it's difficult. You can barely make it out. Barely. But you will have a -2 on this shot. Not -2 dice, just -2 to whatever you roll.
-2 to the successes. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I imagine, I don't know if the Oblivion sight highlights heat, but if it's a can emitting smoke like that, yeah, it would
Just
definitely be
lets you
hotter.
see in the dark and see ghosts.
8 with a crit, so hopefully the critical helps me hit it.
I mean, yeah, even if that's even with the -2, then yes, you do hit the can that is spewing out some things, and there is a little bit of an explosion. And for this point in time, there is a larger cloud of obfuscating gas, but at least it will be more quickly dispersed. And let's see here quickly, if now that these sounds are ringing out, let me just make a roll for these folks that are getting out of their way here. Okay.
I wonder what would be more effective against potentially armored targets. Would it be the shotgun that does aggravated but has no damage bonus? Or would it be the 357 snub nose that has a +4 damage bonus? Because I know that if they're wearing,
I mean, you're dealing with mortals, so gunshots are just
Period.
aggravated.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, the 357 then. Because it's got a bonus damage. I mean, like it'll probably help eat through whatever armor they're wearing if they're wearing armor, assuming.
All right. So there is the sound that you can hear of these crunching boots that are coming towards, and Kenny, up in your tree. Up in your tree, a shot rings out. Let's see if it hits you. So I've got a 4 there. If you are going to be trying to get out of the way of this or not, you can see if you can
dodge it.
try and shrug off some of this there. You can make a Dex and Athletics roll there just to see if there is a difference here. But somebody has made your position. He rolled really well for his awareness.
Can I
roll.
see which one it was that made this position?
Not yet. it is still not possible. It is still this fog is still going to last for this whole round here that we have. But if there are other things that you would like to do at this point in time, you can tell me what you would like to do.
Well, what I want to do requires me to be able to see the target. So
Okay.
That is 3 successes.
3 successes. All right. So you take 1 point of aggravated damage as this bullet hits into you, and it feels as if it is burning pretty badly. All right. And another shot rings out. This sounds to be more like a handgun. Oh my word.
making the same sounds I made.
Rich, I need you to make me a Dex and Athletics roll for me, please.
And it's 6 to success?
Yes, 6 and above.
2 successes.
2 successes. All right. So you have a fortitude of
Oh,
1
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. What do I do with that?
All right. So the fortitude is going to help you reduce some damage here, basically. You are immortal, however. Which fortitude ability does he have? It's just
Resilience.
Resilience. All right.
That adds 1 to his health track.
Adds 1 to your health track. All right. So
it should be accounted for on the sheet.
Yeah.
All right. Is Rich also wearing any form of armor or anything like that?
I would have expected so, but I don't want to, I don't know. I feel like that would have, I feel like that would have been some sort of
so that adds
chest.
adds a +2 there. Now you do not take superficial damage from bullets. You take actual damage from bullets there, and you rolled a 2 successes, but you do have armor there. So yeah, this is pretty bad. They hit you, and you are hit in a very, very vital artery, and you are down, and you are starting to bleed out.
Oh, damn. Well,
that escalated quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, he rolled a 12 with 2 crits. They have 9 for their firearms pool. I'm just going by the book here, guys. They have 9 for their firearms
I'm not. Nothing. That's fine.
The others that might be there, you are not seeing where they are at this point in time. But this is now the cloud of mist and stuff is starting to dissipate just a little bit. But Quinn, you can definitely see that Rich is now beginning to bleed out on the ground.
All right, I can see that he's bleeding out. Can I see any of the new assailants?
It looks as if there are 4 heavily armored assailants that have made their way out of the truck.
I think it would be, I guess, call them assailees because we're the ones assailing them.
I guess.
All right, so am I able to see the one that looks like he's trained on Kenny right now?
You are. They still have, you are now able to see them. There is still a bit of a disadvantage when you're trying to hit them and everything because it is still a bit foggy and everything, but it is clearing up.
Okay, well, this one doesn't require a hit roll. This is more of like I was going to target him with the alchemy power or the alchemy formula. So this would be me activating it and then choose a target within line of sight and envelop them in mist. And it'll obscure their sight and penalize them 3 dice from all sight-based detection and range attack rolls. And I'm going to try to use it to suffocate them, which is a contest of wits and alchemy versus stamina and survival.
All right. So for them, it's just physical here that you are trying to.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think it only affects a single victim, from what I can tell.
All right. Does this alchemy potion require a rouse check?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and make your rouse check for that.
Let's see if I'm getting hangry yet. Nope. Rolling
You don't
really
get hungrier?
good. No, I got 9. Being good
All
at
right.
these rouse checks at least.
Nice. So so you roll to try and suffocate him there as this mist begins to envelop this shooter that seems to have his own own sort of like specialized rifle, which is aimed at Kenny.
We got oof. 4 successes.
All right. As Kenny, you are in pain a little bit as you've taken this point of aggravated damage and is burning quite a bit there. But you see that this, as the smoke from the grenade starts to clear up a little bit, you see that a different kind of mist begins enveloping this shooter, and you can see that the gun begins to lower, and they drop the gun and they are putting their hands to their throat, and they are beginning to suffocate.
Choke on it. Choke on it.
Can I make out the other shooter that had attacked Rich?
You can make out now, because the everything is cleared up, that there appear to be, from where you are. Let's see if you can see all of them. Just make a wits and awareness roll for me. You can see at least 2. We'll see if you can see more.
4.
4. Yes, you can actually make out all 4 of them, and you can see that one of the ones nearer the back is actually seeming to start to walk forward out of the mist with his own rifle drawn in the direction that where he had shot before. The other 2 seem to now be taking stock. Yes.
Just a point. The guy who's enveloped, the suffocation doesn't actually kill him. At least because I didn't get it. If it was a critical win, he'd lose consciousness. But because it was a normal win, he's stuck taking no actions except coughing and choking, basically.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind for him.
I would like to shoot the other person with the rifle at the moment.
The one that is currently walking towards the other group. Yes. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. That is 9 with a messy critical at +4.
All right. So that's again, that's you managed to take that one down, even with his armor in the head as he is walking, and he sort of stumbles to the ground. However, one of the other ones that could kind of run up to his friend does hear the shot and turns and bears his own rifle in the direction that you were shooting there, and has.
That one has a rifle too.
They're all heavily armored. They have rifles, they have gun, they have sidearms as well.
That was like a SWAT team.
Yeah,
Someone
these
shot
are
with a handgun, so I got confused.
yes, yeah. Someone shot. They all have handguns and they have rifles too. Hold on. Okay, so make a Dex and Athletics roll if you want to try and get out of the way of some of this.
Getting pretty low on willpower. That's kind of a low roll. Okay.
Oh, actually, I guess if they're mortals, it causes suffocation. I swear, I don't know how suffocation works in 5e.
Well, they're human. It depends on how long you can stay conscious after if you're suffocating.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, this makes good point.
That was worth it. I got a 7 with a critical.
Ties go to the attacker, which is
even in Kindred versus Mortals.
I I believe so. I've got to
Okay.
double check this, but you got a tie there, but you did get a critical. So for this, you managed to sort of move out of the way just enough that you get scraped by this bullet, which hits the tree sort of behind you. So you do not take an aggravated damage here, but you do take a superficial point of damage, which it is burning. So we're not going to half this one. You just take a superficial point of damage. These seem to be coated with something very interesting. But yes, so the one is completely dead. The driver who seemed to be just no weapons on him was a driver. He's completely dead. The one is on the ground and he is busy choking, and the one has fired up. One is dead at the back, and the one is just sort of leaning up against by the door, kind of taking position. Rich, I need Rich, you can make a stamina roll for me.
So is there only one left standing right now then, who's like actively trying to shoot?
Two.
Two, okay.
No successes.
No successes.
Fortitude help him?
For the resilience?
Well, just sometimes dots and fortitude are included in stamina-based rolls, so that's why I'm not sure. I'm passing the question to you.
I will allow this. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. You have one more round before you are dead. But
Okay,
you
I guess
out.
I'm like back up. I'm on the ground, back against a tree, like motherfucker.
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing you can do here. It is the case where you are holding on to where this bullet hit you, and you are hard compressing it. You are going to die. I'll have Quinn and Kenny also make a wits and awareness roll for me, please.
Would it be functionally possible to use the gun as a way to cauterize? Would that even help?
And if you'd fired it recently, like very like immediately, like that second, it may be hot.
Yeah. Well, I was about to pop bullets up. Pop.
But you'd have to fire a few rounds off of the barrel to be hot enough, potentially.
Yeah. That probably wouldn't help any internal bleeding.
3 successes.
Yeah,
also got 2
but I do have Oblivion sight on still, so things
you do. You can see in the dark. So you are Kenny, from your perch, you're able to make out a bit of this battlefield. The one soldier is backed up against the back door, and he is sort of not moving. The one that went to their friend and saw that they are trying to, or beginning to suffocate, is the one that fired up at you. You do see that close, not too far away into the bushes where the one that you have killed, that is shot Rich, is, you can just make out the slumped over form of Rich on the ground. And
how far away is he from me? Where did they take up position exactly?
The other side of the road. So I don't know. I can't guesstimate in my head how big a smallish road is, but the distance.
So I have the picture in my head. You're fine.
Okay. You have an action here, Quinn, as well, and Kenny.
Yeah.
The one took his action there. The one is sort of like holding ground.
Okay.
I'm good.
Oh, go
ahead, Quinn.
Okay, I was gonna say, are they both like taking cover together, or are they separate?
They are separate. The one is closer. The one is right up against the back doors of this big truck. The one is closer to the front of the truck where the driver had originally died.
Right. Okay. Well, in that case, Quinn, knowing that his strengths don't necessarily always lie in direct combat, of course, is going to go toward, I'm guessing the nearest target's the one at the back of the truck for him, probably. So since Quinn is silent and invisible, he is going to try to move up behind him and put his 357 snub nose right up like an inch from the back of the guy's head and pull trigger.
Okay.
And then I don't.
Go ahead and
Please.
roll your decks and firearms.
And
Please,
was
Kenny's Jesus, help me.
I was going to fire at the one who made me, and by the suffocating one.
Okay.
Do I get any bonuses to the dice pool because of the range and the surprise, or no? I know it doesn't work.
Typically, no. It's just if they don't notice you, they don't get a defense roll.
Ah, yes, that is good. Really good for me, in fact, because my pool's so low.
That is 7 with a +4 to hit the
Okay.
man who made me.
I get. I wish there was another 10. It's never get crits, but it's probably because the dice pool's so low. So that's 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah, 3 with 357 snub nose. So that does 357 does +4 damage.
All right. With that +4 damage, even with the armor, he is still mortal. So you pull the trigger and he slumps down to the ground through his helmet and everything. And Kenny, what was that roll again?
It was a total of 11 with 7 successes and +4 damage.
Even with he rolled really well for his dodge pool, but even with that, it is. Yeah, he cannot as the bullet ends up taking him in the neck, and his friend here has sort of fallen to the ground that is suffocating on this mist, and sort of pulled his helmet off and is scratching at his throat as he is thrashing on the ground and cannot breathe. At this point in time, there are no assailants there, and your ghoul is about to die.
Quinn was probably going to run over to Dominic since there were no immediate threats at the moment too, to see if he can assist, in some way, because he knows the other guy's going to be choking out for a while, so he's not concerned with him.
I will let you determine how quickly.
I have medicine.
You can try roll a medicine check to see if you can keep him alive for one more round.
Is it medicine plus anything else, or just medicine?
Intelligence,
Okay,
intelligence
cool.
and medicine. How quickly you could make it there? Quickly enough.
My intention is to try and make it there as quickly as I can, using soaring leap and sprinting.
Oh yeah, with soaring leap and sprinting, you can get there very quickly.
I got 4 out of 7 success.
All right, 4 successes. So you are able to help him staunch the wound just a little bit, but you can see that the light is rapidly failing from his eyes as Kenny has soaring left and is sort of sprinting the distance there.
What is Rich's sister's name?
What is
Rich's?
You're asking me, Camilla?
Camilla? I might be mumbling something about a strange Camilla saying sorry.
Kenny's intention is to, as soon as he makes it over there, perform the embrace on Rich DeSantis.
Why don't you go ahead and narrate what is taking place?
He will kind of, with his fangs, slice open his arm, which he typically feeds people from the arm instead of the wrist because it feels a bit less, Moonlight Sonata or whatever. And then he will listen, and he will say, it's okay. You're going to see Camilla again, whoever she might be. And he presses his arm to his lips and using his hand against the other side of Rich's head, pushes it and forces him to drink.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I imagine I'm very weakly trying to push my head away.
All right. So you know that you had to take some of his blood, yes?
Mhm.
All right. So you have started drinking from him first, and then you are okay.
Yeah. He
Rich.
I believe if I remember the rules correctly, he has to be drained before
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, the amount of blood that is in Rich Dos Santos is not as much as you would normally expect, as a lot of it has left his body. And Rich, this pain, and you can feel yourself slipping away and dying, is replaced by a feeling of absolute ecstasy. It is the best kind of emotion you've ever experienced in your entire life. No drug or no amount of really good sex can compare to the feeling of being fed upon. And as your pulse starts to disappear and disappear and disappear, he is at that last thread of life where, Kenny, you pull back, bite into your wrist, and begin to drip the vitae into Rich's mouth. For a moment, there is nothing inside you, Rich. You're gone. And then you begin to experience a deep, yawning chasm of darkness, absolute void that begins to fill your entire being. It's very, very cold. And to those witnessing the body of Rich Dos Santos, you see that his eyes begin to fill with an inky blackness. The skin around his eyes seems to almost radiate veins of dark green and black as his teeth begin to grow. And then the eyes resolve into normal points. And Rich, you find yourself staring up at Kenny and Quinn. And you are very, very, very hungry. Kenny,
And looks
do
over at Kenny.
you
Is he alive?
consider, did Kenny consider Rich to be an innocent?
Yep.
In Kenny's mindset, would prolonging Rich's life be considered protecting somebody that you were responsible for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have not violated any of your convictions. You receive no stains for this embrace. Rich, I'm going to need you to make a willpower roll for me, please,
Willpower.
as you are incredibly hungry.
I'm sorry, which is, oh, how do I roll willpower?
Just roll 5 dice.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually something that he's fairly good at for a mortal.
3 successes.
3 successes. You have enough bearing in yourself to realize that you are extremely hungry, but you do not immediately lash out and start to grab onto the nearest person near you. But you are aware that you are still here, very cold and very hungry.
Kenny leaps over to the man who is suffocating and grabs him around the neck and pulls him over to Rich. And he says, "Drink."
Um, yeah, I think I like the idea that I'm way too hungry to even think much more about that. So I guess I'll just carve my teeth into his neck holes.
There is no resistance as this man was on his way out from suffocation, but it is an amazing rush. You had lost a lot of blood, and you were barely holding on to composure. You do not save this man's life. You are at zero hunger and a freshly embraced La Sombra. However, there is still the matter of this truck in front of you.
Like
I would
kept the
imagine-
guy alive for some reason.
I'm assuming the shock of all this, there would be probably a little moment of existential crisis here, like just kind of staring at this now dead body that I've personally drained, and sort of coming to terms with what I now am, what I know or am realizing I now am, and I would imagine it wasn't in the plans for me. That's exactly what I was trying not to have happen. Based on what I know of Rich.
Kenny will look at you and he will say, "Well, Rich, in all likelihood, one day you will kill me for this, and I will deserve it and hold no ill will towards you. But in the meantime, you will be able to see Camilla again, whoever she is." And he will turn and go rip open the door to the truck.
Excellent. Ripping open the door to the truck, you find inside there is a singular man that is seated near the far end of this container. Inside, you see that there appear to be 3 pods of a sort on each side. Each of them seem to contain a different kind of liquid that is keeping those inside asleep. But the man is very unconcernedly seated on a chair and looking at you.
"Father?"
Yes. Have you all quite finished with your display?
"Well, I suppose that's up to you, Father."
I suppose it might be up to me. Yes. I intend to climb into the driver's seat of this truck, or perhaps into one of your vehicles, I intend to take these people with me. Well, if you can call them people. I do not intend to allow any of you to stop me.
Well, I suppose that puts us at odds then, Father.
Hmm.
And he will take the stoppered bottle of blessed water and douse himself with it.
Okay.
I don't actually know if that does anything. I leave that to you, but it's metal. So
Yeah. He does not flinch. It doesn't seem to faze him at this point in time there. But he does stand up and begins walking forward towards the back there. Kenny,
Mhm.
would you go ahead and make a resolve and composure roll for me, please, here.
I would be delighted.
So is Kenny the only one in the back of the truck right now?
At this point in time, yes.
Okay. Well, that being the case, Quinn might be, I don't know, picking up one of the guard's toys, something a little bigger than his fun little pea shooter.
That is a 4 successful on his resolve and composure.
All right. You can feel the weight of this man's presence is quite intense, but you are able to stand your ground as he walks a bit closer to you, and he raises an eyebrow and says, very well. And
There is only one entity to which I bow.
I see. And he reaches into his onto his side there, and he pulls out what appear to be 1 and 2, like what's the word for him? Is karambits the right word for it? Jeez, I can't remember, but they appear
Sharp
to be
objects.
relatively long, longish little knives, and he is going to directly lunge towards you and attack with a speed which is interesting. You might not expect this level of speed from this kind of person here.
Mhm.
Calm down, Grandpa. Don't get yourself hurt.
Are
Is
you
it
going
like
to...
fast enough that I'm incapable of trying to dodge?
No, it is just not that you're incapable of trying to dodge. It is just this level of speed you have seen from Kindred, never from mortals before. So you can dodge if you would like.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
I hope so.
Okay, well there goes some more willpower. That's super cool. That's better. 5 with a crit.
5 with a crit. All right. So he slices into you relatively quickly, and you find yourself taking 2 points of aggravated damage, as these blades also seem to burn the same way that these that the bullets burnt.
He will, in response, thinking that we're not talking anymore, he is going to hip fire his sniper rifle.
Go for it.
Ooh. This is getting crazy.
It's escalated quickly.
Okay.
Okay.
It has. Oh boy.
Not a great dodge roll here.
9 with a critical at +4.
Yeah. You fire off the gun as he attacks you, and silently he slumps to the ground and is no more. In
will-
the yes.
If I may, he will actually approach the corpse,
Mm-hmm.
lay his hand on the shoulder, and say, "Father, forgive me," and then turn to rejoin his companion.
In the aftermath of searching this vehicle and arranging other transport for these pods of 6 individuals, which you seemed unable to release at this point in time, you came across some interesting notes, which seemed to be case files of a sort, on the personal computer of this Father Eric Sullivan. There are a list of names of individuals which seem to have been collected over the course of 3 years here in New Orleans. There's one name in particular which stands out to you, Kenny, that reads that it is currently held in a facility in Denver, Colorado. From what you had heard from Aaron Carter, that name should not be on anybody's list. It reads Camilla Verentano, subject 1784. And this is where we will end our epilogue for this evening, as Kenny Hartsmith and his new childer have some choices to make for the future. And Quinn is returning with some news to the rest of the coterie. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.